individual who's been pushing back on the kind of pork and corruption we've seen, that massive 6,000-page COVID bill being pushed through Congress on that dolly, is, of course, that freedom fighter, that warrior for truth, the man who was formerly chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, California's 22nd Congressional District Representative, Devin Nunes. Devin, welcome to the show.
Dr. Gorka, it's great to be with you.
Sorry, Congressman Nunes. We know each other too well. I shouldn't have done that. Congressman Nunes.
Please
we have to talk about the deep... Thank you kindly. We have to talk about the deep state. We have to talk about the latest intelligent, relevant findings, this blockbuster story about Chinese agents and Democrat politicians. But because of that video and what we've seen in the last 24 hours, will you talk to us, what is Devin Nunes' response as a representative of the American people in California to this 6,000-page pork-laden COVID bill?
Well, what the president was really left with after Pelosi wouldn't come to a COVID deal was essentially do nothing or try to cut a deal where he was going to have to allow pork to be in the bill, because if Biden becomes president and we don't win those 2 Georgia seats, this would be a mega pork bill. So unfortunately, I know there's a lot of people who don't like that money going to foreign aid, but we have to remember we don't know exactly what the Trump administration negotiated with some of these countries. And I think that's some of the money that you see. Of course, the Democrats are always going to have their priority. And look, the American people put in Nancy Pelosi. She's a well-known socialist. She loves all these crazy programs. And the president had to cut a deal. And so the bottom line is you go with no deal or you take this risk of having something that's even worse. And I think that's what really we were left with. It was choice of bad options here, Dr. Gorka.
Congressman Nunes, let me just share with you my back-of-the-envelope math, because I think it's so hard. I mean, you talk about trillions and billions, and you're awash with zeros. I just did the math, the $600. We have $600 multiplied by the adult working population. I took off everybody under the age of 18. And I took off everybody over the age of 65. And I did the math. If you do the math for $600 multiplied by Americans who are working age, $115 billion. $115 billion. This bill is $1.4 trillion. It's got a scad of zeros behind the amount that's required for the $600. Is that $600 going to make a difference in your district of California?
Well, so look, this is remember we went and passed we shut major portions of the economy down. Some states are still shut down. So the president really wanted a $1,200 check, but the Democrats also wanted to have this extended $600 on top of whatever your state unemployment is per week. So this was one of those negotiations where at the end of the day, the people are suffering out here. And look, these are not the policies that I like, but this is what we came up with working with the White House and, of course, Pelosi. And I know people don't like it, but those are just the facts, which are awful. But she's the speaker. I can see her right there on the screen.
It's another indication of what the swamp is truly like. A swamp that you fought relentlessly for years when we had to listen to the absurdity of the Russia collusion hoax. I want to talk about the latest findings. First, if you're not familiar with what this man did, alone, standing up to the lies, you have to check out the amazing book by Lee Smith, The Plot Against the President, which is now a blockbuster documentary, patpmovie.com, made by the amazing director, the son of John Milius. You have to check it out, The Plot Against the President.
Daughter, Amanda.
Eric, the daughter. The Plot Against the President is the movie, is the book. Talk to us about the latest revelations when it comes to national security. Eric Swalwell has not denied his relationship with this woman. He's still on the House Intelligence Committee. What should happen to Eric Swalwell after this blockbuster story of Chinese entrapment?
Well, look, I think there's a serious Chinese spy problem in the Democratic Party, especially in San Francisco. So, you go back to all of the work that we did to uncover the Russia hoax. I just hope people know this hasn't stopped. I mean, this is continuing. So there is now a special prosecutor in Durham. I know a lot of people are frustrated with that, but I just want people to know that this investigation is ongoing. We are looking at the corruption. We're making criminal referrals. I know he's more ticked off than me, except for maybe President Trump, that these people aren't held accountable and put in jail yet. So as it relates specifically to Swalwell, he looks like he got wrapped up into this Chinese spy ring. The leader, McCarthy, Republican leader, has asked for all of us to be briefed on this situation. And from what I can tell is I'm not sure that the FBI is seriously taking this spy ring in San Francisco as a real threat. Now, with that said, I do believe the FBI as a whole, the people out there, they are looking for Chinese spies. But it's just so convenient to just kind of ignore this, brush it under the rug, and not really look at the spy that was in Senator Feinstein's office for 20 years.
Yes.
You have photos with the two of them. How were they able to infiltrate the Democratic Party in San Francisco? So all of this is, and the irony in all this, Dr. Gorkin, I'll just finish on this. These are the people that were P-tape truthers. They ran around with that dossier that they got from Russian spies and Russian information. So they accuse us for doing something with spies when they're the ones that were trying to get nude pictures of the president from Russians. They're the ones who were with Chinese spies. So this is the problem.
It's not just the Democrats. It's the Democrats connected to San Francisco. Devin Nunes, his story is The Plot Against the President. The movie is by Amanda Milius. We will continue. God bless you and Merry Christmas, Congressman Nunes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Gorkin.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.